the public sector wage bill be slashed to help reduce government expenditure? Well, Finance Minister Tito Mboweni seems to think so. We speak now to Labour Federation Cosatu's president, which is essentially a federation that brings unions to the table. President Zingiswa Losi joins us from our Durban studios to talk about this. Ms. Losi, thank you very much for your time. What's your standpoint as Cosatu in as far as cutting the salary bill of government?
Look, Xoli, thank you for having me. We are very firm on the fact that government cannot just move and think that to address the issues of the wage bill, as they say, is to go and cut the salaries of workers. And we are saying to our government that we want to know which workers are you referring to, because we need to get that cleared. We do not think that those that must suffer are the ones that are at the point of service. The nurses, the teachers, the doctors. We want to know where is this wage bill bloated. So we are not going to sit back and allow government to just make that decision without understanding and a clear analysis of where it is bloated. But
let me ask you this then, Ms. Losi.
We appreciate the fact that they have acknowledged. Yes.
All right, let me ask you this. I'm sorry to interrupt you. These discussions have been going on for a very long time. Are you saying you are no closer to finding out from government exactly which workers government is talking about?
Look, Xoli, what we have realized, for an example, from the Minister of DPSA is that when there has always been a narrative that there is a bloated public servant, and the research that they've done working with unions is that public servants are not bloated. Actually, you need to employ more, particularly at the point of service where our communities are to get help. So if then they are not, it is also clear that since the population has grown, public servants have not grown as equal as the population has. And therefore, you can't then say at that point of service the public wage bill is bloated. So it could mean then that it is bloated at the managerial positions. Now, we are happy that that process is going to go back to the the Public Servants Collective Bargaining Council. That's where it belongs and that's where it must be taken. It's not going to be addressed because a minister stands up during the medium-term public statement and make that announcement. It has to go through the correct processes because that's where processes are negotiated.
Let me ask you this then.
So from our point of view, we're saying unless there's a thorough study, Xoli, we are not going to accept that a wage bill is bloated at the bottom line of service. We believe that if you are going to cut, because there are many issues that can impact on the fiscus. You are talking about, for an example, in the study that was done, that they have realized that there are leakages. There's wastage that is taking place in government. There are litigations that government is losing billions of rands through litigations. Can you close those leakages and deal with that? Because it has a direct impact on the fiscus.
Final question to you. What are you, as Labour, willing to sacrifice? And allow me the opportunity to ask you this question as well, in the interest of time. About 363 billion rand has been pledged at this second installment of the South Africa Investment Conference. As Cosatu, what's your feeling around that? Is that going to translate into jobs, which is what the President is saying, that some 412,000 direct jobs may be created if these pledges are turned or are realized?
The reality that we are faced with, Xoli, is that we are in a worst crisis since 2008. And with the high levels of unemployment, extended definition sitting at 39%, almost 40% in this country, any investment that comes to our country, we welcome it. But that investment must also translate to jobs. It must talk to skilling and reskilling of workers. It must talk to just transition, both on the climate change and the fourth industrial revolution, but also, importantly, it must also talk to preservations of the current jobs. Any investment must tell us how are we going to reduce the 29% of the unemployment in this country and take it further to the extended definition. Workers, what is it that workers must further sacrifice, Xoli? We are talking now about those that we negotiated for at the level of NEDLEC, 6.4 million workers that are expected to benefit from the national minimum wage. Go to the CCMA and you will realize that the CCMA is currently dealing with cases of workers that have brought in front of the CCMA of employers that are not paying even the 20 rands an hour. Who can survive below the 20 rands in this country? Already workers are putting sacrifices, but we are saying for us to get out of this economic crisis that we are faced with, sacrifices must be made, of course, and we're saying let's get to the table, let's see what we can do, but you don't expect workers to bleed further than they are bleeding. Because it can't be that it's an investment, but what is going to get out of the investment are high levels of margins of profits at the expense of workers. But we are all here to work together, as we are doing, to build this economy, to ensure that we are dealing with the triple crisis of unemployment, inequality in this country. And we are saying, let's work together to take this country forward.
All right, the next conversation I'm going to have with you will be around the investment arms of the various unions that belong to your federation. That'll be an interesting conversation. Cosatu President Zingiswa Losi joining us down from Durban.